So, today I'm going to talk about Nag. Nag is an Indian anti-tank missile, and in Hindi, Nag means Cobra. And I think they were saying it got its name because it basically flies up before strike and rears its head at the end before diving down. Now, Nag is, as I've said, an anti-tank missile, but it's designed to engage really heavily armoured vehicles in all weather conditions. Nag's interesting because it's gone through quite a few iterations. It's most comparable, I'd say, in the UK to the Brimstone-missile, and in the same way it's sort of developed for armoured targets designed to work in all weather conditions, for day, for night. It's fire and forget, and it also utilises a dome head. Now that's something interesting, I think, about Nag. It utilises this dome head, which basically houses the guidance system and a lot of sensors. If you look at Brimstone, if you look at Nag, they don't have the classical pointy head that you might see on a lot of missiles. They have this dome, a transparent dome, that basically means they're protected from weather, but you can house the sensors in there and they can best see the target, and that's rather important. Nag operates, the initial Nag, on the basis of an infrared seeker, and that locks onto the target before launch. Now, in this dome, there's a lot of stuff. It has a real-time image processor located next to the guidance package, which helps to sort of automatically detect and track the target as it moves, meaning that it can better track targets that move. It has a digital autopilot as well to help in guidance, stability, launch after, and control generally. In addition to this, it uses an electric actuation system which helps with flight control. So it's all built on the basis of this infrared imager, this infrared seeker, and that promotes really high target accuracy from both top and front attack modes. In addition to this, something I think is important that India is probably getting right, it has a CCD camera integrated into the guidance system, and that's really useful. You have a lot of these sensors built into the head. You have infrared, you have certain optical stuff, but the CCD camera is really difficult to jam. And if you fire an anti-tank missile and it misses, which, likely it won't if all sensors are working, or it falls out of the sky, you have a huge issue, because there is a certain pathway that's been created that draws attention to your position. And that's largely why Fire and Forget was developed, so that people, once it's fired, can just run. But here's the thing. The CCD camera is really, really difficult to jam. And so what that means is that whenever the Indian Army is operating this, the chances of a precision hit, even with area jamming, is really, really high. And that's very, very positive, because it means that if there are certain enemy armor installments, it means that they're going to be effectively hit, and it means that the unit that's firing these missiles isn't going to be attacked. And of course, that's just beneficial for any allied force. The guidance system is really, really accurate and based upon this infrared infrastructure, which is really important. Anyway, on top of this, you've also got inertial guidance mechanism. And what I find interesting about this is it uses a centroid. So it will have a certain, I guess you'd say, an axiom, as it were. And it locates this centroid prior to firing, and then allows the centroid to be the, reference point for actually attacking the target. And in the terminal phase, where homing is sort of occurring, it can use this centroid as a means by which to correlate where the target is, and basically confirm that there will be successful and precise strike. And that's also really important, and that is also less jammable. So that's important. It's got brilliant sensors. In regard to the general infrastructure, apologies, there's a plane going over. In regard to the general infrastructure of Nag, it has 4 foldable wings and 4 tail fins that stabilize during flight. Now again, this is important because it also has a digital autopilot which helps in the guidance stability control after launch. So Nag can be even more accurate, and its route can be better planned, even if target designation doesn't automatically occur. And that's really, really positive because it's got 2 attack profiles, either top attack or front attack. and so it can best determine the means by which to actually orchestrate that quickly in a fire-and-forget manner. And that's really important because you've got the real-time image processor as well, which can sort of work in conjunction with this and promote either top attack or front attack orientations. And then with the autopilot, which may or may not be a good idea, you can plan a good route, basically, and that makes it more effective. So it's precise, it's difficult to jam, and it's really, really good at general sensor and munition orientation. Now, Nag has a few variations, the first being Helena, the most famous being Helena, which is a helicopter-launched variation of Nag. It's basically air-launched version, and it has extended range. And the way it works, it can either be launched from the Rudra or the LCH, which is the light combat helicopter. I've talked about this before, and of course by Hindustan Aeronautics. And it does differ structurally from the Nag, but maintains the same sort of image infrared seeker, lock-on before launch, mode for target engagement, and that's rather important because when it's launching, it utilizes a twin tube sort of wing-mounted launcher. I think it's called a stub launcher, and this means that it can effectively fire and, duck up and down, and it gives it all the best properties of Brimstone. Or Hellfire, for that matter. The second variation is Sant, S-A-N-T. Now, Sant is a standoff anti-tank guided munition, and this differs from the others. The rest are third generation, but Sant is fourth generation, and it's basically an upgraded version of the Helena, and it's designed for long-distance airborne anti-armour. And they've done a lot of successful tests with it, but the main difference, the thing that makes it even more effective, is the fact that it has a thermal imager. And this means that at higher speeds it can be more accurate, or travelling with a launch platform that has higher speeds, and it's also got a nose-mounted millimeter wave active radar homing seeker. Now this is hugely important because if we're talking about the dome that it has before, the transparent dome head, the millimeter wave active radar homing seeker is something that Brimstone has, and that's what makes it so effective. And with an extended range of 15 to 20 kilometers, the application of this is pretty huge, and that's what makes it fourth generation. The fact that it can, with this millimeter wave active radar homing seeker, take out armor convoys on the move. And that's really important because its warhead is, brilliant for penetrating really tough armor. The final variant is third generation again, but it needn't be more, because it's the man-portable anti-tank guided missile. And basically this is what it says on the tin. It's new, production starts in 2021, but it's effectively just the initial Nag variation. I think Nag is actually pretty important, because it shows that India is keeping up with whatever trends the defence industry throws at it, and it's working more independently. And I think particularly with the SAMT, the upgraded Helena, the one with thermal imaging, the one with millimeter wave active radar homing seeker sort of capabilities, the one that can travel 15 to 20 kilometers, it's showing that it's really moving into the new age of anti-tank munitions. That being those that are more precise, those that can resist jamming, those that can travel a bit further, and those which operate in better weather conditions more precisely for moving armour. So I think that's rather important and worth sharing. I'll leave it there for today.